This is Phantom Electric Ghost, and we're live on the air with Darlene Greene. You're a stem cell activation technology consultant, and I want to welcome you to the Phantom Electric Ghost podcast. How you doing tonight?
Thanks, Pam. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
So one of the things we always ask any guest before we get to telling your story is like to ask like what motivates you and why you do what you do.
Yeah, it's really kind of simple for me. I have never experienced anything quite like the opportunity to take people out of pain and to improve their health as dramatically as I'm able to do that right now. And it is so incredibly rewarding for me, especially in a time that's difficult. Like I'm right in the midst of a very tough journey where my husband is essentially dying of Alzheimer's, early Alzheimer's. So he's just 68. We probably have 2 more years left, maybe if we're lucky. And he's cognitively age 4. And it's hard. It's really hard. And there are days that, I think my heart's just going to break into two. And yet, by helping other people get out of pain and improve their health dramatically, I take the focus off of me and my own pain, and I'm helping someone else. And that just makes me so happy. And I get texts all day, every day that just tell me how grateful they are. So it's been the silver lining for me. And it also has connected me in a community of people who are also generous with their time and giving. And like you do software, but you do podcasting and you do music and you do all these other things. This isn't my day job either. It is my passion. And so I just really appreciate the opportunity to do it and to spend time in this other arena. I'm a director of client services for network and security technology company. So I oversee project managers. It's a very, very different job.
Yeah.
This is a really very vulnerable. People are sharing with me their most inner issues and pain and health challenges. And then I'm helping them with that. And so I really love it.
Well, it's always good to pay it forward. I love doing that. And I guess as an artist, we try to reach into like the vulnerability, human vulnerability, and we use our own stories or we use people's stories that we've heard about or paid attention to by observing. And it's interesting when they take that creative spirit. That's why I've tried to have this thread in my podcast that the same kind of thing that a singer songwriter or a painter or actor does, people do in their daily lives, but they might not realize it. They might not think they're artistic or creative, but they are. And so
Right.
they use that creative spark to do the things that you do.
Right. And just like you're connecting with people on podcasts and you're connecting with people through your music, you're connecting almost to the soul, right? There's just a
Yeah.
very different connection than when you're doing your agile software development.
Yeah.
That has the same effect for me here. I have a community and a connection of souls that is helping me through a really tough time.
But it's very cathartic. Is I think that's why like we think about like artists do their art as a kind of way to work through their pain. And a
Yeah,
lot of times you can see it in artists' work that like, wow, this seems like he's really
that's
or
right.
they're really expressing like deep
That's right.
thing. A lot of it comes from melancholy, comes from pain, comes from life.
That's right.
And life's not always happy. So sometimes it's a way to work through things. Like you're still working through this, helping paying it forward, and it's helping you.
That's right. I think that we have this opportunity that serves ourselves when we're serving others. And
Mhm.
when we are paying it forward, we are still benefiting. I mean, even if that's not your motivation, that still offers a lift and it removes, I mean, when you can focus, and the other thing is, it's surprising to me how many people are in pain and how many people are suffering with health issues and how many people are frustrated with what their solutions have been in Western medicine and only having pharmaceutical drugs or surgeries or
Yeah.
these options. And so to be able to bring a very unconventional and very safe and very affordable and very, you know, really remarkably successful technology to help people without a prescription, without negative side effects. I mean, all of that is really fabulous.
Well, I think it's really interesting when people look at like holistic medicine or naturopathic, and because I think a lot of times people get stuck within like a Western perspective is there's only like a pill. It has to be the medicine, it has to be the surgery, it has to be something that is tangible to them. And then when they see some things that are like, you go to old cultures, because I'm Cherokee, Blackfoot. There's a lot of spirit animal spiritualism. I spent 2 years in Japan with the Shintoism and everything. So outside of the U.S., you can get these other cultures, and you can, oh, yeah, you don't have to just do it this way. You can. There are other ways that you can do things.
That's right. That's right. I have a little Cherokee in me as well.
Yeah, I think it's just cool to look at like the holistic, or I call expansive. Like I think the world is very expansive, but people like to go into lanes,
Yeah.
and then they restrict themselves unnecessarily. And when you start to open up, like there's so many things that you can't see everything with your eye, but there's still stuff there. You can't
Right.
hear everything that's coming out in the world, but your cat can. Or, you know,
Yeah.
so it's like you have to like start to realize like there's something beyond what you can actually touch or feel. There's other things.
Well, in light therapy has been used for 5,000 years. I mean, this is not new Western medicine. This is really like
Oh,
old, ancient. We all understand that when we go out in the sun, our body makes vitamin D at this point in time, I think, or at least that we understand it makes melanin for a suntan. So it shouldn't surprise us that light therapy can be
could
so
work.
dramatic. Yes.
Yeah, there's so many things that can work. I mean, I work with sound waves, and I
Yes.
know that if
Yes.
I do certain types of patterns and certain waves, I can get people to be very like it can be an uplifting event. Everybody's like waving their lighter or their cell phone lamp like a candle, or it could do something edgy and it's very punk, right? So then they're getting like in a mosh pit. So you can trigger behavior from sound waves.
You can, and actually, 432 hertz happens to be a very helpful to the body in terms of health. If you ever want to tune your instrument to 432 hertz, that music will be particularly healing.
Yeah, I've actually talked to a guy one time. We had an episode where there was this guy who developed this thing that changes the hertz level. So
Hmm.
he can go beyond that. You can go below that and above that and at that. So yeah, there was interesting. And being a synthesis, I have like mode synthesizers and I play with frequency all
Yeah,
the time. And some things are soothing, sounds like like water. Like if I make something that sounds like water or waves rushing, something
well,
more atmospheric.
Phantom, I want you to record something for me in 432 hertz, and then I'm going to take that. I'm going to sleep to it. It's going to be awesome. All of the audience would like that healing music from you.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I've been playing with soundscapes lately. I play with different things. I'm kind of video game music now, but yeah, I always like to change into different things, but
Awesome.
it's in different mindsets wherever I am. But I go back and forth. But in terms of like what we're talking about today is like one of the central ideas is like how do you activate your own stem cells? And this is something that's in your wheelhouse. So maybe you can explain to
Yeah.
people like at
And
at a basic level, and then we go deeper.
I have to say now I have to be very careful about even using the word stem cells. Apparently, the FDA and FTC have come down and said that stem cells are now a drug, even though they were what made you in your body. And so I'm going to call them master foundational cells, and everyone's going to understand. If you're outside of the United States, you know it's stem cells. Inside the United States, you know it's stem cells, but I'm going to call them master foundational cells to try
Mhm.
to stay out of trouble from their lane and also make the initial disclaimer that our products are not intended to cure, treat, diagnose, or prevent disease, even if they do, because they're a general wellness product. But let's talk about it. This is a little patch. It's a size of a quarter. And how it works is phenomenal. You have light inside of you, Phantom. If I were to look at you with night vision goggles on, I would see light coming through you. And this patch serves as sort of like a double-sided mirror to reflect your own light back into you at a very specific wavelength because there's a lattice structure built inside of it that's focusing that light back at a very specific wavelength. It could be turned either direction. It could be on the outside of your clothing or the inside or on your skin. And when we wear this particular patch, it is proven, but with a patent and many, many studies, we have over 130 clinical studies, many double-blind, placebo-controlled. It's more studied than any supplement or any pharmaceutical drug, actually. So we know it works. And what it does is it elevates copper peptide, GHK-Cu. GHK-Cu has been studied for 50 years, and that you can just Google it in PubMed and you can see all the benefits. There's even books written about GHK-Cu, how to reverse aging, a comprehensive guide to copper peptides. And when you look at the studies, you find one of the great benefits of GHK-Cu, which can be elevated through injection or cream or these patches, is that it increases stem cells, it produces growth factors, it improves your brain and nerves, it improves your heart, it increases healing and tissue repair, it actually resets 4,200 genes to their younger and healthier state. It has amazing anti-cancer benefits. It protects lungs, and it improves skin and hair, and it lengthens telomeres. So all of those things that you find when you get elevated GHK-Cu are what happen when you wear our patch. So it's just been extraordinary to see the results. And what I didn't know, when my husband was diagnosed with early Alzheimer's, we really tried everything, Phantom. I mean, we did the gene mapping, we did the microbiome testing, we did interventions, we did infrared sauna, red light therapy. We went out of country 4 times and got IV stem cells and stem cell injections in Mexico. We did hyperbaric chamber, ozone therapy, hydrogen water, strength training, high intensity interval training, sleep protocols. I mean, nothing made a difference. Nothing. These patches made a difference the first week. And I mean, he went from napping 3.5 hours a day and falling asleep at 7 and no longer having the ability to even engage in a conversation. It was too hard for him. He was cognitively probably 4 or 5 already. And he was a zombie, like a shell of his former self. And so he was no longer his personality. He wasn't trying to be funny anymore. And I mean, from the moment we patched him that whole first week, and this was 19 months ago, he was a different person, back to his original personality, funny, flirty, awake, energetic, not asking me the same question 7 times in just 2 minutes, right? So it was absolutely extraordinary. And those kinds of things continue, other things improved as well. His blood pressure dropped, his deep sleep would improve from 15 minutes, which was the best we'd ever gotten, which is when the brain cleanses itself, to 1 hour and 25 minutes in the second week. We noticed that he had a marble-sized nodule that was in his skin for 20 years, just disappeared. At 5 months, he regained his sense of smell, which he'd lost 15 years ago. And so all of these amazing things. And his hair grew back. His bald spot started to close up, and he had all this new hair, and it came in darker. I had a whole bunch more hair, and it came in like a little baby chick, actually. It was very funny. So we each had amazing experiences that were unexpected. Honestly, I had zero faith in these when I started. I was 100% skeptical. I knew nothing about light energy, really. I had a red light therapy. I had an infrared sauna, but I really hadn't studied it. I just knew the science was good behind it. But when I began to patch and I got out of pain, I had a broken leg. I'm sorry, not a broken leg. I had a broken foot and I had a sprained ankle, and I'd been in pain 5 months, and I got out of pain in the very first day. And I had been diagnosed with 4 different autoimmune disorders, one of which caused me to just pass out all the time. I would stand up too quickly. Everything would go dark and black, and I would just be on the floor. If I got overheated, I couldn't do squats or Pilates or things like that. And once I started patching, no symptoms anymore of any of the 4 autoimmune disorders. And
like a cortisol deficiency. It was like a cortisol.
Just not getting enough blood to my brain. And one of the studies of that I love, that I think explains why I was no longer passing out, is the one that we did on the cardiovascular system, where every 6 weeks, the cardiovascular system begins to function as if it's 8 weeks younger. We know that GHK-Cu actually helps new blood vessels form, and it promotes proper circulation. It prevents blood from clotting too much too, and restores integrity to vessel walls. But for me, I think the difference was I started to get blood to the brain again. And so That's huge. There was a brain study that is what I think helped my husband so much. And they've done EEG imaging where they showed what it was like before patching and then 3 weeks and then 6 weeks. The actual visuals of that are on my website. If anyone wants to go look at it, you're posting the IamReverseAging.com website. You can see the imaging. And in the far left, you see the redness. And that redness is inflammation in the brain. That is hypercoherence, poor communication between the left and right hemispheres. And so when you start patching with this patch that activates and elevates your master foundational cells, you see the color map start to change. And then at 6 weeks, it's a whole new map. And what they found is, yes, they saw the elevated GHK-Cu. That's not a surprise. We knew that would happen. But they also saw supported cell and nerve regeneration. That's the big deal. They saw improvement in the nervous system and a lowering of anxiety, and also a decreased brain inflammation, which is visually, you can see it, and improved memory and focus and cognition. I got to watch all that happen with my husband. And the way I experienced that was it lifted my depression. In probably 2 to 3 weeks, I was certifiably clinically depressed, which I think anybody whose husband at age 64 is diagnosed with early Alzheimer's has a right to, right? But I will tell you that the lifting of that depression and anxiety and the change in me, it changed my life in that it allowed me to be a care provider with so much more patience and so much more gratitude for, okay, I may not have the old Jim all the way back, but I have his funny, flirty personality.
Yeah, more of who he was.
Exactly.
Yeah, my father passed of Alzheimer's,
so
when he was like 78, 79. And at that time, back in 2017, no one had ever even thought to tell us about any therapy other than what your primary care doctor or whatever doctor they referred to, they give you whatever was around in 2017.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that much. So he just would start doing the walkaways, start losing his memory, asking the questions over and over, or trying to do the same thing, like go to a bank over and over to check his balance. And he just keep on doing it. And we had to actually, the bank eventually said he can't come in there anymore. So it's like, it was just a total, and he was a very social person. He was a sales guy. So he's very good at communication.
Yeah.
To see my father's communication level drop.
Yeah.
It was just like wow, that's like a nightmare, because I never expected
that
would happen. There's other members of his family that had other conditions that, and they were older than him. And they never got it, but he got it. And so we were like, wow, how is that? How come his two brothers don't have this? How come he has it? So it was kind of like weird. It was like, what's going on here?
I'm so sorry. I feel that I can't think of a disease that's harder on the family than Alzheimer's is. It is devastating because you're dealing with this ambiguous loss. The person that you knew and loved as your husband or your dad is no longer the same person as in stages, and you're losing a little bit of him every day. And there's a new loss regularly. And yet, there he is. And the relationship changes, like for me, I went from being a wife to being more like a mother.
Like a caretaker. Yeah, everybody had to be a caretaker, had to be treat him like he was like, instead of 78,
That's
like
right.
he's 10 or 7.
And you know what, Phantom? What was shocking to me, and I never knew this, and so any care providers that are in the audience, and there are a lot of us at this age, right? The care provider often dies first because it is that stressful. I had 4 doctors tell me this. The care provider goes first. What are you doing to take care of yourself? You need rest. You need recovery. And of course, I wasn't getting any sleep. He's up
super stressful.
Alarm going off, police showing up at the doorstep. Like there's just a lot that goes on with care providing. And I have had to work really hard at taking care of myself in this journey, and trying to inject joy in the midst of grief, and not only trying to inject it and feel it, but not feel guilty for it. Like, how can you experience joy when your husband is dying? How do you
like
how can you wrap
like
your head
any
around it?
terminal illness, it's hard to like in your middle of cancer or
Yeah,
like heart disease where
it's,
you're going through multiple
it's
operations.
right.
It's
You
like it's hard to have joy when your partner or somebody in your family is going through like traumatic surgical or medical situations. It's like, well, how do I have a right to
yeah.
have joy?
And, and you
You
need
know?
to, you do. And congratulations to you on your cancer fight and recovery. Um,
Thank
I will, in fact, that reminds me, I want to tell you one of the things that we talked about with the anti-cancer. I want to get really specific for you because of the cancer that you experienced. One of the things this patch does is it resets the programmed cell death of cancer cells without affecting healthy cells. So it repairs damaged DNA and it resets 84 genes to protect against cancer. And we have testimonials of people who were really, um, they had 4 to 6 months to live. There was no thing we can do. And, you look at the PET scan and they're covered with, lung cancer all the way down through their stomach and through their lymph nodes and everything. And 5 months later, their PET scan is clear. It's really remarkable. So for people who are, and they actually do GHK-Cu injections in cancer clinics because of the positive effects of GHK-Cu.
Well, it's good to know about different alternatives. I mean, I actually had my cancer issue when I was like 27. Now I'm like
Mhm.
57. But yeah, it's just like back then. I mean, all I had was like surgery and radiation and chemo. But
Yeah, tough.
that's what happened. But
Bless your heart.
it changes your mindset when you go through stuff like that, and it kind of got me to this place like where I decided like if I'm gonna survive that, then I shouldn't be afraid to try
Yeah,
different things.
yeah. What gave you the courage to go to Japan and to do,
Yeah,
go to a country where you didn't have a language and learn and just sort of put yourself out there in a very brave new world, I think. And I really respect that and admire that you took something that was really difficult and made the best of it and changed your life around it. And I would say that's what's kind of happening for me a little bit here, that I was a very private person. I would never in a million years have thought I would ever be on a podcast. I had
your
no social
story.
footprint. I
Yeah,
didn't have anything on my Facebook. Nobody would know what was going on, except they knew I had one daughter that graduated from the Naval Academy and another daughter that graduated from the Air Force Academy. And that was really all they knew. But when I began to experience these results and then have my family experience amazing results and my friends, I was like, I'm kind of mad that this was not easy to find. When I went researching, particularly stem cells, I did not find anything about this. I did not hear about it from my doctors. When I finally did find out about it, and I asked my doctors, I have 4 doctors on these, 4. None of them ever told me about it. This is available in 87 countries. Never heard of it. I also found out that people like Tom Brady and the Kansas City Chiefs are wearing these. Michael Phelps, David Beckham, Serena Williams, over 300 Olympic athletes wearing these. How did I not know about them? So I
yeah,
began to be like, okay, if I would have known about this 5 years ago, right when my husband got the diagnosis or started to demonstrate symptoms, we would not be where we are today. I really can say that with a lot of confidence. But here we are because I didn't know about it until late.
well, it seems like a lot of times, within Western medicine, there's certain people that want like an official lane for the remediation of anything. And if it's outside of that, like, because even it's like if I've tried to talk to doctors about nutrition with about holistic, things, they don't want to talk about that. They just want to talk about the prescriptions they can give me, the procedures they can give me. They don't really know that much about it. They don't know what to recommend. I had to go do my own research I do a lot of my own gardening to reduce pesticides, right? Because I
Yeah,
started to look, it's like, where did my cancer come from? It was like highly likely that it came from industrial chemicals,
yeah.
industrial radiation, or, pesticides, stuff like that. Because there was an external level 3 sarcoma, and it usually comes from getting into contact with a carcinogen.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as I started to really like look into like does this water, does this pond have a history? And I
Right.
started checking, it's like, oh yeah, somebody actually dumped VOCs into this pond, but nobody ever talked about it. Or there's a dump site near it that leaches into it. Nobody looks into it. So I started really getting into, you need to actually check things. You need
You
to
do.
do research. You need to find out things that you can do. you
So
know,
surrounded by so many toxins. And I think for people who don't know anything about detoxing, they need to. One of the things I love about this patch that helps activate your master's foundational cells is that it also helps detox. It actually improves the immune system. And by helping to, it elevates your glutathione levels. Are you familiar with glutathione?
yeah, I think I talked to some people about that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
can talk to the audience about it.
it's huge, right? Glutathione is your body's master antioxidant. It is your immune system, and it is also your detox pathway. And so this one patch elevates our glutathione levels by 30%, which is more than an IV of glutathione was doing, which I was actually doing before the pandemic to try to keep from ever getting the virus. And what we have a different patch that actually is a glutathione elevating patch, and it elevates your glutathione by 300%. And one of the things that I love about that is that glutathione helps increase collagen. It helps regenerate cartilage.
Mm,
Glutathione helps protect the myelin sheath and helps detox heavy metals and really detox toxins. And there's not enough we just cannot detox enough.
yeah,
Um,
with modern
we
world, man,
got control.
the
We got
water's bad. It's in the
water, food,
it's in
the air,
everything.
everything we're breathing, the materials that we're wearing, everything, right? And so, what I love about we did a study with this particular patch, the one that increases your master foundational cells, the patch that reduces inflammation and cortisol and C-reactive protein and stress, and then this glutathione patch. And those three patches, they actually helped to prevent the entire group of people who were studied from having to get a knee surgery. They wore them 2 or 3 months, and they ended up showing improvement in their cartilage in their knee and no longer needing to have a knee surgery. And so it's phenomenal, the things that we're wearing. And also, those three patches will help to remove spike proteins that people have. And spike proteins are around, for those who don't know, that anybody who got the COVID vaccination and anybody who got COVID has spike proteins. It's a byproduct of the virus or the vaccination. And it creates problems in your gut and in your lungs and in your heart and in your brain. And these three patches in just 2 months of wear will wipe them out. So there's so many good things that can come when we investigate these alternative sources. And this can just get mailed to your door. It's super easy. You take off the sticky, you stick it on, you wear it 12 hours, you take it off. You can put it on the dog. We actually have a whole line for pets. We've seen amazing pet miracles, right and left, pets that were
Yeah, because
paralyzed.
pets are always getting sick from like the food that they eat from some of the big companies. If you don't like make sure you check what you're giving
Yeah.
your favorite
Yeah.
because a lot of times people just go for the convenient thing, and it's like, that's the problem. I like I said, I started doing research, started growing my own food.
Yeah.
Have a lot of filters on like my water coming, from my shower to the water I drink,
Yeah.
running through like, take a lot of things you have to do to get rid of the microplastics, to get rid of the
We
the,
actually
the,
have a water.
the VOCs, all the stuff that's in there is like people don't realize how much stuff is out there.
Oh, we have a water machine that's coming next year that actually removes all of all the things, all the bad toxins. It also removes microplastics, but it does even more. It has it's a new. He's invented a new metal, which has then created a new water, and this new water has the benefits of improving all of these aminos, like upregulating sarcosine, serine, glycine, valine, histidine, aline, leucine, even KP, which is what turns on NAD. And so what they found was in 80 people that were taking this water in the study, one person responded in terms of their HRV, their heart rate, HRV, heart rate volume, is that it? Velocity, HRV. Anyway, hi, I should know that. Sorry, and their EEG. And one person responded in 2 minutes, and the other 79 in 15 seconds. And what they basically were seeing was the cells were reverse aging 2 to 3 years in 10 minutes. So I am very excited about that product coming out next year. But I need it. I need it for my husband right away. Right. I need it right now.
Hmm. So it seems like you've been able to get into this new world of things like by doing the investigation. What made you? How did you find this information? Like what led you here?
It's interesting, and it's startling. And my hairdresser knew that I had gone to Mexico 4 times, right? Because we're working my schedule around when I'm in Mexico this one year, 4 different times, and I would complain about it was being $10,000 for an IV of stem cells and how we didn't get any results. And she had a friend who was patching, and it had changed her family's life. Her cousin who had end stage Agent Orange leukemia, her daughter who had autism and went from kindergarten to upper third grade in just 5 weeks, and was having these amazing experiences. And she said, I don't really know anything about this, but my friend does. Would you be interested in talking to her? So I said, sure. It sounded very crazy to me, and I honestly was like, I don't really believe this. I bought it without believing it. But I had nothing to lose. There's a money back guarantee. We're talking 1 month supply is $99 wholesale. There's 5 different ways to buy, but why buy anything but wholesale? So we're not even talking very expensive when you compare it to the fact that I had just dropped $120,000 in a year on medical stuff for him. So $99, sure, let's just try it. So I had zero expectation and no, if placebo effect was ever going to work, it wasn't going to be on this. It was going to be on those $10,000 I spent on the IVs, right? And I mean, all of a sudden, what a difference it made. So that's how it was literally my hairdresser telling me about it and then connecting me with someone who had done it themselves.
So you wrote a book. Is your book about this whole
Um,
process,
so
or
my
was this something else?
my book is called Become Empowered: Echoes of Grace and Strength, Real Life Stories of Women's Transformation and Triumph. And my book, I was asked to write a chapter in this book and be a co-author. I would never have done it otherwise. I know a lot of people write because it's a very cathartic experience. This was me going back to a couple of marriages ago and very traumatic experiences, emotional, physical abuse, narcissists I was married to, and the just horror of all of that, and the long journey out of that, and then the finally I get it right. I have the most wonderful man on the planet, truly the kindest soul anywhere, and super super wonderful marriage, just easy and fabulous and happy and just no distress. And then he has Alzheimer's, and it's about kind of getting through each of these hard things and getting to the others. Not necessarily, I'm not on the other side of it, but how
Mhm.
to overcome with as much grace as possible and find the silver lining to be able to pay it forward.
Yeah, because like life sometimes is like it's the moments. Like people want to have as many moments as they can, but like every moment is in itself its own kind of universe. And so,
It
like
is.
once people realize, like things like ebb and flow, but things happen. Like I'm Buddhist, we feel things happen for a reason. So every phase you go through is for a reason, and there's a reason why it happened. And then if you start to process it in that way, then you can find the good and even things that don't feel good,
That's right.
and then
That's
find
right.
ways to kind of work through life with like less resentment, but more kind of forward thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the thing. Like it's not really the care providing. It's not his disease. It's really all how I'm thinking about it, right? And we can reframe how we think about things. We can be grateful for the thing. Like I got a once in a lifetime love. And did I get it forever? No. But I had it and it was a beautiful, wonderful thing. And not everyone ever gets that. So
Yeah. It's kind of
There's
moment in time.
different
There's sometimes these moments in time, and you want them to be X
forever.
long, but they are what they are.
That's right.
Yeah.
And even when you're happy, you're going to drop back to neutral. And when you're sad, you're going to come up to neutral. We do this all the time. And there are things that can kind of elevate our happiness baseline. And one of those is gratitude. We can't be that angry when we're grateful.
Yeah.
So I work,
Resentment's not a good look.
yeah, it's not a good look. And I work really hard at those things along with the meditation and the exercise and the sleep myself and all the things I need to do to take care of me so that I can take care of him and take care of, it's not just him, it's my mom and dad. My mom's 83, my dad's 88.
Yeah. You have to be here to be able to be in that sandwich generation where you're
Yeah,
taking care like multiple
yeah,
situations. It could be like somebody in your household, and then it could be your grandparents. It could be this, there's a lot, it could be your students. They're trying to
right,
get a job. They can't
right.
find a job, so they're in the house too. So you got college age kid in the house, grandparent in the house.
Even just being a parent of kids whose dad is going through Alzheimer's,
That's hard too.
how do you hold their hand through this without, I remember one visit was particularly hard and my daughter was there with us and I was just sort of barely holding it together. And we walked out and she said to me, Mom, you can cry. And I said, sweetie, I don't want you to ever think you have to take care of me. And she goes, I promise that I don't, but it is okay for you to cry. And I cried and she cried and we both cried and we had a moment. And but I am careful because I never want my kids to feel like they have to take care of me through this process because they're going through
Mhm.
their own hard journey right now.
Yeah, it's just hard, and the way the world is, it's so difficult but then there's grace. There's always grace. Like for everything that's hard, there's sometimes these moments where you can, like you say, if you reframe, like a lot of times you have to reframe the situation. Like when you're in the middle of cancer, you can think of a couple. I mean, I knew it when I was around it. There were some people who were thinking, "Oh, I'm at the end." Right?
Yeah.
They just think they're done.
Yeah.
I had a mindset where I didn't think I was done. So I said, "Yeah, I'm not done, and it's things I got to do." But like it's hard because some people get hit with that. They hit or like, oh, somebody just slammed me down from here to pull me back down. And I was trying to reach this like Icarus or something. I'm trying to get here, and I got knocked down. But
Yeah.
like you have to have that kind of mindset. Yeah, it's hard because you might not naturally have it, and you
Right.
might have to kind of build toward it.
Right. Right. Right.
But like the tools that you're saying that these patches is giving people like an alternative medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's giving people a way to, handle things that, modern medicine might say, well, there's no real way to do this, or the way to do it is so expensive, or that
That's right.
nobody's gonna your plan won't offer it. They
That's
won't
right.
give it. The doctor is not approved. The process is not. There's so many things today with modern medicine where procedures aren't approved, drugs aren't approved, or they're beyond your level because you can't even afford it for your
Well,
deductible you got. So
you've got all of these medicines that are covered, right? You've got insulin and you've got Ozempic and you've got all of these drugs. When you are patching, we find people their use of any drug drops. They no longer need blood pressure medicine. They no longer need cholesterol medicine. They no longer need thyroid medicine. They no longer need insulin. They no longer need anti-anxiety or depression medicine. They no longer need headache medicine. They no longer, I mean, you name it. And I've personally seen clients of mine stop. I've seen one that dropped their blood pressure medicine in half the first week. We've seen tremendous drops in just days. So when you've got a patch that can take you off of a pharmaceutical medicine, medicines are just masking symptoms. They don't get to the root.
yeah, a lot of times, yeah.
Your body has an innate wisdom. It knows how to heal itself. This helps activate the body's innate wisdom and healing itself. It isn't the patch that's healing, it's the patch elevating a copper peptide. The copper peptide is going to work. The stem cell or the master foundational cells are going to work, and they're on your body is doing the hard work of healing. We have a patch that's been proven to improve bone density, increase lean muscle mass, reduce fat, improve cognition, increase muscle by even strength by 125%. Just a lot of different things. And then of course, there's a patch that the women love that actually elevates the epithalamium peptide. That is the peptide that increases and improves organ function, and that organ function includes your largest organ, which is your skin. And so we look younger, we have more collagen, and we have less fine lines and wrinkles. But what it's doing is it's actually improving the organs like your adrenal glands, your liver, your hypothalamus, your front lobes, your pituitary gland, your thyroid, your kidneys, your pancreas. So the skin just happens to be the organ you can see. But when you're seeing that younger face, it's a reflection of all the improved health of your other organs, right? So we have a patch that anybody who's living on caffeine or energy drinks ought to try. Although even just the one patch that elevates master foundational cells offers people improved energy and better sleep. But there's a different patch that actually is for improving energy. It was actually developed 20 years ago when David, the inventor, was asked by the Department of Defense to create a product that would help our Navy SEALs to be able to spend 3 and 4 days on missions without sleep. And this product actually improves the mitochondrial function and energy production and fat burning. And so it's fantastic it's sort of like giving you Energizer Bunny energy all day long without any kind of, zzz kind of.
Yeah, like a kind of amphetamine or caffeine or something.
Yeah, it's really a wonderful thing. So we have a variety of patches, and that's part of where I come in is I have read the studies. I mean, not everybody that is in the business of sharing the patches needs to know about all of these. But I am sort of one of these people that loves to read all the science. I like to understand the studies, and I like to then know what each of the different patches. And so part of what I offer to people is an opportunity to sit down. Let's hear what you have going on. If you want to just do one patch and keep it just the simplest, then it's just that one patch. And we just, you tell you it's going to take 6-9 a year. It's going to take a while. This regeneration and rejuvenation of your cells and the innate healing at a root cause, that does not happen overnight. We can get you out of pain overnight with our pain relief patches, but we can't solve the problem overnight. That's going to take some time. But if you give me that time, you will see, we say patch till you get your miracle, because it will happen. But if you want to speed it up, we can do things like lower your inflammation. Since inflammation eats up stem cells, if we lower the inflammation, then as those master foundational cells are increased, they're able to go to work for you. So part of what I do is I help people figure out which patches, and then we stage and we go slowly in introducing secondary patches, because I don't want too much detoxing all at once. The only requirement is to drink water. It's required that you drink half of your body weight in ounces in water, because you're going to start dumping toxins as your glutathione is elevated. It's going to come out of your fat cells and your lymph nodes, and you need to be able to flush that. So you got to have water.
Well, I think it's awesome. Yeah, that you've gone into this, and you're also not you're consulting with people, right? So if people
yes,
reach you at your website, I Am Reversing Aging, you offer like guidance on what these actually, what your patches can do and how.
And I don't. I have no, I mean, it's free. My time to you is free, because the gift is really mine when I get to see you heal and improve. There is a money back guarantee, so there's no risk. It's just worth trying for people out there who don't like taking pharmaceuticals, who don't want to have surgery, who want to, who just know, maybe it's their parents, maybe it's their friends, maybe it's their child. I have seen my friend that has autistic child. She has 5 families of autistic children that she has helped dramatically improve. There are just no ends. There's nothing that I have seen this doesn't help if you give it enough time. And that's because your body is so smart, and we get it back to working at its best. So why not? You can either get older every day, or you can start reverse aging. And I'm all for getting younger every day and feeling better every day.
Well, I think
quality of life. It's not about how long you live. It's how good of quality of life.
Yeah. I mean, you can live to like a really late age, but the quality of your life at that point is it actually worth
Yeah.
taking that effort rather than like I kind of live in a moment. And
Yeah.
as long as it's like the moments that you're in, you can make those the best they can be. If you're gonna have, you know, reframe your mindset, you know, think about like
Yeah.
paying it forward, think about other people around you, think about yourself. So it sounds like it's like it's a whole like you know, full package, full view, full holistic concept.
And Phantom, I think you're 56, 57 ish.
57. Yeah.
So when you're 30, half of your stem cells are dormant. And when you're 60, they're almost all dormant. So that's why we're aging and we're not healing as quickly as when we were little. And so we can activate all of those, or at least, initially a third of them, and get them working for you again. And when we think about it, the number one cause, all cause morbidity over age 60 is falling. It's
Hmm.
you fall and then you break a hip and that's the beginning of the decline and you die. I mean, it's unbelievable to me that falling is the number one cause, all cause
Yeah.
morbidity.
It
But you
makes a
know
lot of sense. Yeah.
what we can do to fix that is we can increase our muscle strength. And these help to do that. These help give you the energy to go walk and work out and feel better or not hurt. Those injuries that keep us from being able to exercise or walk, those injuries are preventing us from building muscle. And we need that muscle every day more and more as we get older. And the Ozempics that people are taking, the first thing you're losing is not fat. It's actually muscle. You're losing muscle and water and fat.
I mean, I don't think you want that. But, you know,
Right.
people take what they think is gonna give them the quick fix. So a
And
lot of things
I'm
are
not
the
saying don't, right?
yeah.
Whatever you need to do to make your health the best it can be, that's up to you. And I'm
Yeah,
just saying
if
there are alternatives.
yeah, I think it's good to look at everything that's out there and see if it's for you. So
Hmm.
I do appreciate that you've been on the show today, and we have IamReversingAging.com will be clickable in the podcast descriptions. Like we were just live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. That will be fully clickable on those platforms. We're going to be on all the other platforms where you can listen to or watch a podcast by tomorrow. You'll be able to click on IamReversingAging.com and connect with you there. So you'll be able to connect with Darlene Greene and check out all the different patches and different processes she's been talking about tonight.
Well, thank you, Phantom. And I just want to make a small correction. Instead of I am reversing aging, it's I am reverse aging. So if you add it's just IAMREVERSE AGING. And I would love to hear from your audience. And actually, I'd love to get you patching, Phantom. So let's talk. And thank you so much for all that you're putting out, all the goodness that you're putting out in the world with your podcast. You're so prolific. You're in like over 1,000 podcasts over many years, and you're just a joy to talk with. And it's been a pleasure to be with you.
Well, thank you again for being on the show. And yeah, we always like to talk to people and have them come back on the show if they have different things to talk about. But thank you again for being on here tonight. Okay. Good night.